So, hello and welcome to my next chess video. This time I show you the game between Houdini 4B versus Monarch 1.7. Houdini is white and Monarch is black. I let them play the Trompovski, which arises after the moves d4, not f5, this would be the Dutch, knight f6 and bishop here. And more exactly, I let them play this kind of continuation. Bishop here, d5, knight here, bishop there, e6, d3, knight here, knight takes, and queen takes. So this is the opening position I gave them, and it's black to move. And yeah, let's see, the moves are here, which I will consider bishop e7, bishop e6, knight c6, or knight here, or c5. Those moves I will consider. Let's see what the Monarch comes up with. Monarch plays the move knight c6, stopping any c4 by white, because then this bishop here would pin the queen to the king. So c5 is not possible now, but you can go, for example, bishop b5 or bishop to d3. Let's see, bishop d5 threaten some knight here, so maybe bishop there, pawn take, bishop takes, and now either you can take with the pawn, which prevents knight to here, or you can take with the queen, so you defend the knight. But I would take with the pawn there, and then maybe castling. Well, castling queenside is pretty risky by white because of rook to c coming to the c file, so probably not castling rook to the c file immediately. King here and knight there. Maybe, oh, the knight is pinned, sorry. So now maybe castling to unpin the knight, and now oh, the pawn is pinned. Now maybe this one to sacrifice a pawn. No, not sacrificing a pawn. This is kind of stupid. But what can you do with white here? Probably castling queenside is not right here. Probably going for kingside, and then kingside as well. And now maybe c4. Takes, d5, bishop there, takes, knight d4, queen here, attacking the knight. Probably something like this, defending, and this position should be around equal. So let's see what Houdini comes up with. Yeah, we have this bishop b5. Now I will play bishop to d6. Interesting, but both engines would think is a good move. There is the move f6. This is kind of interesting. It prevents knight coming into d5. But then white can simply castle. And now maybe bishop to e7. And now c5. Castling. Takes. Yeah, this position also looks kind of even to me. Here we have the move f6. It's the top move by both engines. f6 here. Let's follow the Houdini line. The Houdini line goes f6, castles, bishop d6, and rook c1. Now it changed, but this looks quite normal. Bishop takes, pawn takes, having an iron grip on the e5 square. Now maybe castling. Bishop takes knight, pawn takes knight, and c5, c4. Probably not taking, because then you have an isolated, double isolated c-pawn as black. So probably something else. Probably rook to the b file. Now maybe some crazy stuff, or some crazy stuff with g4, 5 here. Takes. But now you can exchange queens, and this is not too crazy. This is just suicidal. So rook to the b file. Probably this was the old Houdini line, what he had calculated. Now he says something else, but this line looks quite good to me for white. So let's see, Houdini castled, and now maybe, wow, g5 is quite aggressive. What the Monarch is trying to do, g5 here, g5, bishop g3, and then maybe h5. Wow, this is a continuation. This is going for the win here, but I'm sure this backfires somehow. Probably with moves like this, but then you open up the g file. Taking here is now a threat, so probably not taking the pawn. Probably just leave everything as it is, or even pawn here, knight there, bishop may goes there, even. Now rook to the c file, queen here and trying to go queenside, but then c5. Queen here, I don't know. You get always these doubled pawns. So, we have the move g5. Let's see what Houdini says after this, because now I'm quite interested in both evaluations. We have zeros from both sides, so it's not a bad move, this g5. Bishop g3 now, and followed by h5. Trying to trap the bishop, show h4. And now maybe bishop here, rook there to the c file, queen here, c4, castling queenside. Probably something like this, takes, maybe even queen takes now, or pawn takes. Yeah, pawn takes looks quite good. But then maybe there is some sacrifices. Rook takes, with this check to come, and then queen here check, followed by mate. So yeah, this you cannot allow. This rook takes. Now you have to take with the pawn, otherwise you lose the queen. And now this is kind of forced, so castling queenside is not that appealing. And following up with h5, h4. Yeah, this is Yeah, this line, it's an amazing line. This is why I love chess, but because of those kind of sacrifices. But yeah, okay, castling queenside doesn't work. In castling kingside, this game is escalated pretty fast, has escalated pretty fast. Pawn takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen here maybe to go after that pawn, and this pawn is lost then. I don't know, this looks all not that great. So probably bishop there after all. Bishop takes, queen takes. Yeah, we have to move h5. Bishop takes, queen takes, rook c1. But here again, this c5 is quite good. Probably something like this, but then takes, and again rook takes, wins the game instantly. I don't know. Also in the line before, no, in the line before the king hadn't got this square. But here this sacrifice doesn't work because the king can run away. So probably something like this is possible. Bishop takes, queen takes, rook here, castling. This takes. Now the knight has to move. And now maybe getting this form pawn. f5, but how dangerous is it really? Bishop there to defend the knight. Threatening to go queen here to attack this pawn right there, so maybe f5 is now, I don't know, the knight is coming in with this route, so, or even to here. It's a very interesting position, very interesting for both sides. We have to move h4 as well. I kind of want to know how both engines evaluate that position now. Okay, it's still kind of equal, so you can play like this as black. Good to know, because this is my playing style. If it's possible, then I would go for something like this. I like Monarch's playing style, although sometimes it's too aggressive, and against Houdini or Fritz or something, the Monarch has no chance. Okay, we have different move than ignoring it. We have the move after h5. Before I analyzed a couple of moves, but we have to move g4. Knight goes back to e1. Or bishop takes c6 first, pawn takes c6, and then knight goes back to e1. Then maybe bishop here is an option, followed by f5, f4, and bishop here. So, let's see. But the knight also has a good square here on the c5 square. Let's see how this game will unveil. Or not taking, or knight here immediately. This is the question. Knight here immediately, probably bishop there. Bishop takes, queen takes, knight here, threatening to go there. I would take it first with check, so that there is no option of queen takes anymore, so that if you go here, then takes, and if you take with the queen, then the knight has a nice square on c5 where it can never be challenged again. So you kind of have to take with the pawn. But this now looks pretty weird, so probably queen here to attack this pawn. No, but rook here, queen there, rook there to defend everything. I don't know about this queen maneuver. So probably still something like c4 and rook c1, c4. So let's go with rook c1. Castles, c4, takes, rook takes, rook c1. Where does the queen go? Not to e1. Where does the queen go? Probably here. New variation. Queen here to defend the pawn. Now knight here to try and tribble. So bishop takes, queen takes, d5, rook here to blockade, and now you can tribble and attack this pawn kind of. Okay, we have knight e1 immediately instead of bishop takes c6. So we have to remove knight e1 and bishop to d6. So now I would take this bishop, followed by queen takes maybe. And now c4 immediately. This is what I would go for, probably. c4 takes, bishop takes, and e5 maybe, because the pawn is pinned. e5, I don't know, d5, knight here, check, c6, takes, queen takes. This is a fun line because here you get another queen. Check. Yeah, but you kind of lose the queen immediately due to rook takes. And how is the material? 1, 2, 3, 4 against 1, 2, 3, 4. Queen against rook, so that's better for black. So you cannot sacrifice a piece by taking here. So this bishop check also doesn't work. Well, you can go here after all. And but then you lose a pawn, so cannot this. Looks good for both sides. The rook has to come to the d file. Now maybe c6 takes, queen takes, rook takes, knight takes, and this position should be around equal. So probably Houdini is going for something else. Let's see. Houdini is calculating bishop to knight to d3, so letting black capture here. Maybe, yeah, castling looks pretty strange. You have to get rid of this knight because otherwise takes, and now the knight has cemented itself on c5, and this should be pretty good for white, this knight versus bishop scenario. And white's king can always hide here on h2, defending this pawn, which cannot be attacked by a bishop or by a knight. It has to be attacked by a queen or rook, and this is gonna be very hard to do. You can go queen here immediately to threaten the pawn, but then just king here. And what to do now? This pawn is adequately defended, and the king is very good shielded here. So, and black's king is pretty open. You can always consider something like rook to c1 followed by c4, or rook to e1 followed by e5, by e4. Let's see. Okay, we have this move knight to d3. Now a6. I wouldn't have played a6 because you want to capture this knight anyway. So bishop takes c6, pawn takes c6, and knight here, and now you have created another target for this knight. The rook has to defend the pawn now. So yeah, you can also push it. But this doubled pawn here, yeah, black's position is kind of very, very, yeah, I would say not good, but very, very interesting. Let's see both evaluations again. Okay, Houdini now thinks it's better for white, but not much better, and the Monarch still thinks it's equal. So, okay, bishop takes knight, followed by, okay, we don't have bishop takes bishop here, at least not yet. We have this knight d3, a6, bishop takes, pawn takes, and now if the knight goes in here, then the bishop can capture it, and then we have opposite colored bishops, and you really don't want to capture there. But as white, you also don't want to capture there, because then it would strengthen black's center, and black can now push for c5 and for e5 after snapping off this knight. And this knight is very nicely controlled by that one pawn here. So I don't know if you want to do this. Very interesting position. We have this. Now b takes, of course. And now what? Now what? Maybe rook here. Followed by castling and c4. Threatening c5. Well, c5 is not a real threat. Rook to the b file. c5. Bishop takes, pawn takes, but now the pawn is here and not the knight. And this pawn right here is very nicely guarding this square. But the knight can jump in here probably. So you might as well snap it off immediately and then go for f5, and this position should be well, now after takes, well, what? Here takes, bishop takes, pawn takes. Now you would win a pawn. You don't, because this a pawn is also hanging. And now white has a passed pawn, and maybe this is enough to win, but I don't know. Black can go for d5. Has a very active rook there. So, don't know. Maybe e5 followed by that. Followed by queen here, rook there. Rook takes, king takes. Pawn takes here, discovered check. King goes back. And pawn takes here, so now black has created his own passed pawn. But I'm sure something like this will not happen. But it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to exchange everything, play for c4. But then I think black could be slightly better there. How is the pawn? We have 5 against 5. Maybe a4. Let's see who is faster. Rook there. Queen there. Queen there. Queen there. I don't know, looks like a draw to me, but I don't know. Any move, for example, rook takes, queen takes. Sadly, you cannot queen because the queen is just too fast. So you have to do something else. Yeah, we have this move, rook c1. Now, rook b1, rook c1. Wait, what? Rook, we don't have this exchange. We have pawn takes, rook c1, rook b1, so, and now maybe c4. c4 looks kind of interesting to me. This is also the line we just analyzed with in some different move order, but this line exactly we had. Now I will smoke a cigarette. Very interesting game. I really like it. What do we have? We have the move c4. Very nice Trompovski here. Now we have the move bishop takes g3. Pawn takes g3, of course. Now bishop takes here. Pawn takes here. Queen takes here. Takes. Queen here check is annoying, so you cannot take the pawn on a2, but you can just take the rook. Sorry about this. Queen takes here, and now we are in exactly this line I just analyzed before. So let's see if something different will happen. Also possible is to move here queen d6 instead of taking there. Queen d6, queen d6, king here to defend the pawn, and only then takes 5. Queen has to move somewhere, and then queen takes here. Or even better is this check right there. Checking here. And rook takes. And now it seems pretty good for white. So, I don't know. Rook takes. Rook here check. King there. Queen here check. King there. Rook here check. King there. And rook there. You have to defend the pawn. And now queen here, and this pawn cannot be defended anymore. And yeah, this seems to be over for black. So okay, but we don't have king h2, we have knight f4. Knight f4 instead. We have to move knight f4. Also a good move, can't argue with that. But then maybe e5. Pawn takes, attacking the knight. Where does the knight go? Okay. Knight goes here. Now maybe e4. Now the knight is defending this pawn, but the knight can also jump back here. Or you can go king here to prepare knight e5, but then maybe... well, c4 doesn't work, you take this pawn. So, let's see what we get. But also the bishop is hanging, kind of. Sorry, wait, what? Knight here. Bishop is hanging, so you kind of have to castle. And now maybe c5, so it's kind of disgusting. I don't really like black's position here anymore. Maybe e4 takes, queen here. Go after that pawn, and if you defend that pawn, then this pawn is hanging. So, I don't know. So that's probably why the Monarch didn't go for the move e4, e5. Rather goes for the move bishop here, and Houdini now plays b3. Let's again see both evaluations. I think white is now in human perspective, or at my level, this is still quite interesting for both sides. It looks quite equal, quite even, with chances for both sides, but in computer terms, the hole in black's positions is the holes in black's position are just too much. So I think it's better for white. Houdini says it's better for white. The Monarch says it's better for black. I don't know. Houdini is a better engine, so I kind of believe in Houdini. Now maybe the move e5. Knight goes back. E takes. Pawn takes. Yeah, we have to move e5. Maybe now castling. Although castling, no, I wouldn't castle. King f2. Don't know about king f2 either. King f7 either. Queen here, but this pawn is defended quite good. So I don't know, knight e2 seems pretty normal. D takes e4. Okay, we don't have, the knight doesn't move. We have takes, probably pawn takes, and now knight e2. Then maybe d4, going for everything. Takes with no, you cannot take with the queen. You can also not take with the pawn, so this loses a pawn. But now the rook's file is open, and white cannot castle. But this bishop here is very beautiful, so you might want to get rid of it by playing knight to c3 at any point. Okay, we have takes, and now takes. Oh wow, this is a piece sacrifice. Taking the knight. What happens if you take the knight? Maybe rook takes, attacking the bishop. Bishop takes this pawn. e4. Bishop moves back. This I have to analyze later. Rook takes bishop maybe. King takes and rook there. Check, I don't know. And the Monarch didn't take the knight, so let's see. Let's see why. Takes, bishop takes, take everything, give nothing back. This is my attitude. Really don't know. Maybe queen here, attacking the rook. Rook here. I don't know, but we don't have this. I will analyze this later. This is very interesting. We have the move c takes. And now does the knight move? Probably to d3 or to e2, but now I can move to d3 also. But then maybe c5. No, c5 is not possible, because the knight is also on c5, and the knight will come to c5. So this is, you may have to swap it off and then play for e5, but this kind of loses a pawn. No, it doesn't. You have to move king. No, it's white's move, sorry. And now taking there, but this pass pawn might be strong, so I don't know. But this endgame seems to be pretty good for white maybe, so probably something else then. Very interesting piece sacrifice. Why don't you take it? Oh, I see. If you take, then this is a double attack, attacking the rook and the bishop, so that's probably why you don't take. But yeah, you have to take care of the rook, but then you lose the bishop, blocking and taking there, and white is up 1, 2, 3, 4 against white is up 2 pawns, so that's probably why you don't take the piece. Very interesting though. C takes d5, c takes d5 and knight d3. Now we have to move rook h7 to go away from this diagonal. Now probably knight here, knight to c5 I would play, trying to get rid of this strong bishop. Well, I don't know, or leave the knight there, it's a very strong knight. So, what now? This move takes, attacking here, king here, and now rook, king anywhere, king there probably. Then maybe queen here, attacking the bishop, trying to get rid of the queens. Queen takes, rook takes, rook takes. I don't know, bishop here, but then you lose that pawn. c6, 2, 5, but this should be a draw, because this structure equalizes itself, because it's a double pawn here on the g-file, cannot move, so there is no threat. And yeah, this kind of stuff is also quite nicely protected. This one, but you can take here, but then rook there, knight here defends the pawn though. I don't know, white seems to be better after all, so this doesn't work. So what else to do with black there? What else to do with black after knight c5? Houdini is calculating long for its next move. Plays the move knight c5. Attacking the bishop. So if, for example, that move, no, not that move, if, for example, something like this, I don't know, then takes, and this is now a double attack. Just wanted to make a random move, but here is counter-attacking the a pawn, but now maybe a5, but now this move, check, rook here, takes. Could be equal, could be even better for black with the move d4 coming. So let's see what Houdini is coming up with. Let's see what the Monarch is coming up with. Maybe rook b5. No, we don't have rook b5. We have to move bishop here, and knight takes there. What the hell? Knight takes. What about queen takes? What about queen takes? Knight. So Houdini is again trying to sacrifice something, and the Monarch is calculating not to take it, rather goes for something else. So why not take the knight? Let's see. Maybe queen takes there. Okay, we have to move rook b6. Analyze this later. Bishop g6 takes, rook here, knight here. So white just snapped the pawn, so it's 2-5 against 6 pawns. But this is doubled. This is doubled, so it's not lost yet. At least I don't think so. But this trying to sacrifice the knight twice. This is kind of nice here. So what to play here with black? Let's again see both evaluations. Now I think also the Monarch thinks it's equal, and Houdini thinks it's 1 for white. It's winning, so probably it's winning for white. It's at least much better, I guess. Knight c5. We have to move rook to b5. This is what I wanted to play one move earlier. So, but now the knight is attacked twice, so maybe b4 to cement the knight. Followed by c6, a4. Rook goes all the way back. I don't know, then you can again attack it. So I don't know, this a-pawn seems pretty crushing. This a-pawn. So let's see. So knight here. No, not this, wait. Maybe a5 first. Followed by knight here and rook takes there. Not quite. b5, b4, rook b8. This is what the Monarch is calculating. So the rook goes all the way back, but what has black achieved? Now maybe a4. And this knight is very strong there. Black's king is in the center. Let's see what Houdini is coming up with. Followed by a5, a6, a7, a8, probably. Maybe rook f7 now. Exchange of rooks, and now a5. And how to stop this pawn? This pawn is quite strong. Probably you have to go here anyway at some point, but then maybe a4. Followed by knight here. I would be scared. As black. If I were black, I would be scared. So probably b4. Rook here immediately. And then rook takes, bishop takes, and a4. Rook goes all the way back. a5. This conjunction seems pretty strong. Maybe something like this to attack the pawn. But then just king here, and white's king is very safe. As I said before, this pawn configuration here around white's king is pretty strong. So, but let's go back to this critical position right here. Why can't you take the pawn? Pawn takes. Maybe rook takes there. No, this is still defended by that rook right here. So maybe queen takes here, but then what about just this one? Check. King here. I don't know, then this check seems to be pretty nasty. So maybe Maybe king here. I don't know. Yeah, we have this continuation. No, not takes. We have rook h7, knight here, bishop g6, knight takes, rook b6, knight here, rook b5, a5, and now we have the move c6. Now a4, of course, rook b8 most probably, and now a5. Why not a5? Or even that one. e4 looks pretty good. So if takes, then the queen is hanging, so you cannot take it, not even with the bishop, because the knight takes and then you lost the whole bishop. So maybe e4, but you can just ignore this, push the king forward, takes, or maybe even queen takes. But these two connected pass pawns are quite strong, so you just go maybe a5, rook takes, a6, rook here, rook here. Yeah, we have the move e4. So probably now rook here to defend the pawn. This pawn is hanging. You cannot defend it because the bishop is there covering it, but you can counterattack. But then king here. Yeah, the rook here on the a file. b4 takes, b5. Rook goes all the way back. King here, rook there. Pooh, I don't know. Knight check. King here and rook here, and this pawn seems to be pretty strong, but I think there is a faster win. Okay, we have e4. This is also a position I kind of want to analyze, because why not king up? You want to exchange rooks first? Okay, let's do it. King takes, I would play. Or just a5. Why not push the passed pawn? Passed pawn should be pushed. So rook b5 back now from Monarch. Is he calculating? But what about this? Okay, we have this rook exchange. Rook takes, but this rook was quite... rook takes, bishop there, pawn here, queen g6, pawn takes, probably bishop takes, at least I will play bishop takes, queen here threatening this pawn right there, so you kind of have to push it or defend it. No, pushing doesn't work because this check wins the rook, so you kind of have to defend it. That's why queen here, rook there, and now this pawn is gonna. King d8 is calculated. This one first, okay. Yeah, now black is falling apart. Black is just falling apart now. King c7 is the move, but now, or rook a8. Rook a8 doesn't really matter. Then you just take here, queen takes, rook takes, and you have a passed pawn right here, passed a pawn and a passed, and another passed pawn. So this should be winning. This should be winning, and I think the Monarch also recognizes this right now. Yeah, Monarch thinks it's lost, Houdini thinks it's winning. So yeah, well, we don't even have the queen exchange. We have... wait, what? Rook here, wait, what? Rook here, rook there, threatening this discover check, winning the queen, so the goes there, and now this one. Queen here, queen there, avoiding this check. Although this wouldn't be that terrible. Rook b8 now, probably. But not just push the pawn, a7. Or knight here also works. Rook there, any moves, then check. Yeah, this wins the queen and the game. Now it's over. Now it's really over. King b6. But queen here just. And now what? King goes back. a7, check. If the king goes there, then this check. Followed by queen here. Yeah, it's damn lost now. It's over. There are many ways of skinning the cat now. And now it's over. Now it's over. Let's go to this critical moment where Houdini sacrificed the knight the second time. The first time I managed to find it out why you cannot take the knight, but the other time I was wondering why you cannot take the knight. So a very interesting game here. The Monarch made it really interesting. d4 with this kind of opening. c6, bishop b5, c6, b4, h5. This is all pretty playable. c4, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen here, knight here. This is nice, this in-between move. Because if you take the knight, then you have a double attack. So this... But now that move, why can't you take the knight? Houdini, please show me the answer to my question. Let's see. If queen takes knight, then this one. And what about bishop f7? Loses the e-pawn, okay, but what about that one? Queen g8 check. Okay, king there. Rook takes b8. Oh, wow, yeah, okay, of course. Of course, it's threatening. So you kind of have to defend against this. So bishop there. And now rook takes f7. Rook takes f7. Queen here, check. And wherever the king goes, there is this queen h8. But here, yeah, this leads to checkmate, I guess. Rook takes c7, check. And rook here. And if there... Oh, you cannot go there, you have to go there. And then just taking the rook, and this leads to a mate. Okay. Okay. Wow, this is nice. Some nice calculation why you cannot take the knight. Okay, so rook takes, queen takes there, and it doesn't really matter where the king goes, or if it goes there, then it's a mate, and you lose the rook. If you go there, then there is queen to h8 check coming, followed by taking the rook. And it's much better for white. Yeah, white is up 2 pawns. Or 3 pawns. Yeah, white is up 3 pawns. And it doesn't really matter where else to go. Here it's gonna be mate. Here there is again this queen h8 check coming up. can go somewhere and take the rook here. Thank you very much. But you have to see this bishop, rook takes bishop. This is nice, some nice calculation. Yeah, and black is falling apart there after rook takes f7, so that's why you cannot take the knight. So very nice piece of calculation. And here the other, okay, rook takes, bishop there, yeah, this is just a nice piece of technique. And this is a nice mate. You never see that very often. Queen covers these two squares. The queen covers these squares. The queens are covering that squares, and this is a nice checkmate. So yeah. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.